Hope family. It is so much fun to be on here with you. Welcome to this wonderful day. I'm Connie Jones and I am with Jan. Oh my
Hello,
gosh.
thank you for having me, Connie, on this side of the computer.
I was going to say, he has so many of you have heard him and seen his name, but haven't actually got to put a face behind the man who makes it all happen. And we're so grateful for you. I mean, just for everything that you do. He has been serving Igniting Hope and serving you guys for 6 years now. Is it gone in 6 years?
Yeah, 5 maybe.
5 years.
Yeah.
Wild, 5. a long time. But I actually am so excited to actually have Jan on with us today because Jan has just finished. Should I let you tell him? I'll let him tell you. But I'm just excited. It's been fun to watch Jan in just overcoming all kinds of crazy things that have gotten in the way of him pursuing his dream and just living with such enormous intentionality. And so I'm going to let him tell you what he just accomplished 2 hours ago.
Come on, you should tell. Okay, so I started the college 2 years ago. It's like 3.5 years program. And I finished it just this morning. I had my last finals in front of the 3 people with PhD, and it was remotely to the Czech Republic. So at 3 a.m. we started, and I just finished this morning. So yeah,
just finished this morning, and here he is. Instead of doing up at 4 o'clock in the morning, studying and doing just wild, and then here he is. But I'm so excited because I've actually got to know you and watch your process for so long. And so what maybe you don't know, and not that I recommend this, but here Jan moved his whole family to come here to go to answer the call of God on his life, to go to ministry school, and then stayed an additional year and goes after building your leadership development with the Backlund team, stays here and continues to serve and grow while working 2 jobs. And then, as if you didn't have enough going on in your life, goes back to school online. And so, and for some people it'd be like, oh, that's crazy. But when you know what you want to do, when you have clarity on what you want to do, all of a sudden things begin to take their rightful priorities, and you're able to prioritize when you know what it is you want to do. So anyways, I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled that he's with us. I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud that you're with us, and just wanted to kind of jump in because today we're going to be talking about keys to actually becoming the you that you want to be. Every single one of us have a version in our mind of what we want to do with our life, who we want to be, how I want to show up for my family, how I want to show up for myself. And then if there's an ache in all of humanity, every one of us have this desire to be significant. And that is a gift from the Lord because we're made in his image. We're made after him. And that thing that says, I want to be significant, is the seeds of his greatness in us. Not a single person was called to have an average life. We were actually called to make an impact on this planet. And so much of it comes up in our own dreams. And so anyways, before we get started in this, I just want to say every single one of you, including me, we have things that we want to do and go after that we haven't accomplished yet. And so a lot of times there's this shame or guilt that keeps showing up. And I want to tell you this is not the Lord. The Lord does not motivate you through guilt and shame and condemnation. That's the voice of the enemy, or maybe your pastor, your past teacher, or the bullies at school, but that's not Jesus. He always shows up to say, you know what, I can do more in 10 minutes of intentionality than you could have done in 50 years anyways. And so I just want to say this, you're right on time. And there's no guilt and shame and condemnation for where you haven't been. Instead, there's an enormity of grace. The ability of God himself to come alongside you and bring you into the dream that he has for you and for your family, for your future, for your body, for your finances, for every single aspect of your life. But let's turn our attention to just specifically talking about keys to becoming that, keys to overcoming like self-limiting beliefs. But anyways, I just want to jump in with you, Jan, because I feel like you're like the billboard. Like, how do I live an intentional life? Ask Jan. How do I, meet goals in my life? Ask Jan, because I think you just do such a powerful job of walking that out. So I'll have you just jump in first.
Okay, yeah. So I actually, when you were talking, I wrote my bachelor thesis, and it was interesting. I was writing about how if you want to be a programmer in United States, what are the possible paths to take that you can learn all of this. And I was comparing like private universities and public universities and boot camps and self-studying. An interesting fact is that the most expensive path is private university that cost in average $180,000. And the cheapest one is that you will be like self-studying, and you have free online courses from Harvard and other Ivy League universities for free online. But interesting thing is that even this is the cheapest path and you can learn the same stuff, only 12.6% of people actually finishing those courses.
Wow.
So even if it's the cheapest and more affordable path to be like, if you want to self-study by yourself, only 12% people are finishing those courses. And the reason is that there is no structure and there are no due dates. There is no one who would grade you. And that's actually is the main problem. What was the outcome of it? So what Connie was talking about, how to become the better you, is that it's not a problem that we would not have the ways how to do it, or that we don't have everything what we need. But usually the bottleneck is that, if we were just talking about before, that it's if you remember the quadrant, the urgent, non-important is the worst quadrant that you can live off. Sometimes there will be some things that will be urgent and you need to deal with that. We are living on this planet and we need to deal with stuff. But if this is like your life all the time, you need to find out and figure it out how to start doing things that are non-urgent but important. So you need to find a way how to create the urgency in you that you can do, and you have everything what you need to start doing things. Usually we like to create excuses why it's not possible, right?
Now you're just meddling.
Yeah. But I love what Steve is doing, how he created the urgency, and he don't like losing money. So if he did not finish something what he should finish, he used to send money to Connie. I don't know if he's still doing that. Yeah. So find a way how to do that. For example, for me, I have similar motivation like Steve, because the private college that I paid in Czech, you are paying for semester, not for credits. So normally it takes like 3.5 years, but if you finish the school in 2 years, you're paying only for 2 years of school. So that was motivation for me, which was crazy at the beginning. I thought, because I already know how to programming, so I said like software engineering, it will be easy for me. And I had crazy times. I need to repeat few classes again because I did not expect that, but I was able to finish it because I had the motivation to pay half of the tuition, which is great, right? So, and Steve is paying money when he is not finished what he should finish. So find something that really motivates you and create the due dates, create the urgency in your life that can help you moving forward, even if it's really like small steps.
That's so
I heard one time, if you want to start writing a book, first thing what you can do, if you have 1 minute, create a file, open the Google document or Word document, and name it like My New Book or whatever. And this is all what you will do. Only create the file, and you don't need to write anything in the first step, but start something. Even if you have 1 minute, use that 1 minute and start.
I love that. I think, and I'll end up going a different direction than I was going to go, but I can't help it.
Sorry.
No, I love it. Because I just think that so many of us, we get stuck in the motivation trap. And I say motivation trap because every single one of us has experienced enormous motivation. Like maybe you went to a seminar, or you read the book, or you watched a YouTube, or maybe you did the school, whatever it is, but there's like this motivation, but motivation is so unpredictable. And a lot of times we're waiting to be motivated rather than just start. Motivation actually comes when you get wins. Like you go and you move forward and you accomplish, like I opened that file and I started that. Motivation begins to build as you're going. You rarely ever can believe yourself into motivation, but you can activate yourself into motivation as you go. And I love this story. There's this one guy, he needed to lose like 200 pounds. And the doctor told him, you are going to die. I can't help you anymore. If you don't get this weight off, you are going to die. And so he had been sabotaging himself because he looks in the mirror, he looks at the scale. There's no way. Like he kept seeing how much he had to lose rather than what can I just do right now? So he actually got this idea. Instead of trying to lose weight, instead of trying to fix his whole diet, he just began to put his shoes on in the morning, his running shoes. That's all he did. He'd get up in the morning, put his running shoes on. And somebody else would be like, that's stupid. That's not going to do anything. But what happened is he just did what you said. He just got started. And then he did that for a few weeks. So rather than getting up and walking around barefoot, he would put his running shoes on. Because why? Because I exercise, and exercisers put their shoes on because they're going to go somewhere. And then he took it to the next step where he went to the gym, didn't get out of his car and go to the gym. He just went to the parking lot. He got up in the morning, put his shoes on, drove to the gym. And what he did is this is genius, is he was actually building momentum in himself and building like trust in himself. I get up, and he'd say in the morning, I'm going to the gym. So he put his shoes on, he'd just get up, put his shoes on, and go to the gym. And he just did it little by little until pretty soon he went into the gym. And then he went and worked out for like 5 or 10 minutes. Well, long story short, he ends up losing all of the weight, literally all the weight, 200 something plus pounds, is healthy and alive today and living his dream. He's alive for his family. And it all started with him. He stopped looking at all that he wasn't doing right and just started. And I feel like that is such a powerful way for us to look at. Every one of us has things that, man, I just haven't got there yet. And I think, Jan, you said something, find out what motivates you. I think that is such a key, because you know what? Guilt and condemnation is not a motivation. It is just never. A killer. When you getting up and feeling bad about what you have not done, there's no motivation in it. And maybe you haven't had a lot of people in your life to say, you know what? You can do this. And so we're here to tell you, you can do this. There isn't a single thing, a desire in your heart, something that the Lord has put in you, that you do not have all of the ability to do it. Because first of all, God never asks you to do something that he hasn't equipped you to do. And he comes alongside to gift you and grace you. And so a couple of the things, Jan, you mentioned quadrants. And so for the people that don't know what we're talking about with the quadrant, so he mentioned the urgent and not important. Can you tell a little bit about what you mean by that?
Yeah, so correct me if I will say it wrong, but basically it's like we are doing tasks in our life. It can be like work tasks, but it can be whatever you need to do if you have family, kids. You need to go shopping, you need to do laundry, and all that. So basically, if you would imagine that we would split for like 4 quadrants, so we can do tasks that are important or not important, and that they are urgent and not urgent.
Yeah.
So for us, obviously, usually like the priority has something that it's urgent, right? So if you wake up and you find out that this is the last t-shirt what you have, you probably need to wash your t-shirts, right? So, but because you don't have any, it's like urgent thing, because the next day you wouldn't have clean t-shirt. So, sometimes we are like doing stuff that waiting for last time, which could be when your engine lights turn on, and then it's urgent. You need to do something, or your engine will break. Or you can go every year on like you can change your oil, and you can go on checkup, and then you will avoid that the urgent stuff will happen, and it's usually less expensive if you are doing things
Yes.
that are preventive. They are not urgent in that moment, but they are important, because if you don't deal with them, then it will be urgent, and it usually cost you more money,
Yeah.
more time to solve it. And yeah,
That's so good. I actually remember hearing that for the first time a few years ago, the learning the quadrants, that I did not know until learning this, that I pretty much lived my life in the urgent and not important category. Like check engine light, my house is a mess, or just relationships, something blow up. But I love the idea when you think about what does that actually mean? How do I make sure that I am focusing my time on the important things, but they're not urgent? Well, what is important in your life and is not urgent? Well, how about your relationship with your spouse? Very important, but not urgent. But most of the time, I shouldn't say most of the time, sometimes what has happened in our life is like, there's, not a big thing. So I don't need to go to counseling. I don't need to go do marriage counseling. I don't need to sit down and intentionally work on my communication because everything's okay. Well, then what happens with the marriage counselors and the lawyers and all this is people didn't take care of connecting with one another, checking in with one another, finding ways to love each other until it was urgent. Somebody wants to leave. Same thing, check engine light, putting stuff off because it's not important. Well, what about your body? Think about our body. I'm not having a heart attack. I don't have anything happening. So I'm just going to continue eating those donuts because who doesn't love donuts? I don't feel like exercising today. I want to watch Netflix, and it's like doing those things sometimes is fine. But if we find out that we're living the entirety of our life in not taking care of the important, but not urgent because nothing's going wrong, then what happens is pretty soon that thing flips. And now it becomes extraordinarily urgent. And what happens is if we don't take care of the important things that are not screaming at us, then they become very urgent. And so now take this out of maybe something it's not something as so detrimental as your health or your relationships, but what about the gifts that are in you? What about the things that keep coming up in your heart that I know I'm meant to do this? I've been in this job forever, but I know I want to go back to school. I know I want to further my education. Not urgent. Certainly not screaming at you, but is it important? So the idea when we think about living an intentional life or becoming the you that you really want to be, we're actually talking about shifting our focus to live with this is extremely important, but it is not urgent. Extremely important, but it is not urgent. So and if we're very often motivated by urgency, putting out fires, we will find out that we will live decades with lots of activity, very, very busy. Busy doesn't mean success. Being super busy does not mean success. Actually, it's being able to let go of all the things that are standing in the way of what is important to go after. And so a couple of things, keys, I just want to say this, is we tend to sabotage ourselves sometimes, and maybe I think probably more often than anything else, by the number one thing. So we talked about giving keys to becoming the you that you desire to be, giving keys to actually accomplishing the things that are really in your life to do. And number one is starting off with your belief system, And think about this. If there's lots of things that you have wanted to do or some big things that you have wanted to do, but you haven't done it, I would say the last thing you need to do right now is to get another course, jump into another program, get another to-do list. Instead, be able to look at it and say, if I haven't moved forward, there's probably a belief system attached to it. I'm probably sabotaging myself because here's the thing. If I don't actually believe that I can do it, even though I know I should do it, I know I should do it, but I don't actually believe I can do it, I will constantly sabotage my efforts because at my core, I don't believe I can do it. And so number one, go after our beliefs. There is not a single thing that God has put on your life that you cannot do. If he is asking you to do it, there is a supernatural ability of heaven itself that's coming. And so I want to talk just a second. And since you do this so well, how do we adjust our beliefs or even recognize if we're sabotaging ourselves with beliefs?
I love the story with Wendy, how she started losing weight. Is that she first 3 months, only thing that she did was like changing her beliefs about her losing weight, and she started declaring when she looks on a food she is losing weight. And this is such a good example, because you can't do something if you don't believe you can do that, because sooner or later you will get back. So this should be not step 2, 3, 4, but that should be step number 1, to really transform your beliefs that you can actually do that.
Yes.
So yeah,
that's so important. I think what happens is often I think I need a new strategy. That's what I would have had this done. I would have launched that business. I would have gone back to school. I would have lost that weight. I just need a new strategy. But the funny thing is, usually strategy is a tool that comes and helps us when we have clarity that this is what I want to do, and I finally believe that I can do it. And so I think I would even say this, like what Jan is just releasing, is that Wendy, she was struggling, not able to lose weight. And the Lord spoke to her and said, "You're not losing weight because you don't believe you can." And so if we would just make that step number 1, first of all, maybe step number 1.5. Number 1 is what it is that you want to do. And be okay. Be okay that there is greatness in you. Be okay to come into agreement. The price that Jesus paid for you to live in victory in every area of your life, it's okay for you to say, I want to do this. I want to make this mark. I want to pursue this. But get clarity. This is what I want to do. And then, with that, I know that I can. And then begin to build proof in your life. And where do you find proof? Where, if I want to change my belief system, I love the fact that the beliefs that got you where you are today won't get you into the next level. You actually have to have a higher level of beliefs to go to the next level of our life. And so where do I go to get new beliefs about whatever this is? And I tell you, God is so faithful. He has never left us without a witness of what we can do through the Word of God. And so, but if I don't know what it is I actually want to accomplish, then we kind of spin our wheels. But if I know I want to launch this book, I want to lose this weight, I want to go back to school and get a degree, and it's like everything around you saying that is impossible, you don't have time, you don't have capacity, all that stuff begins to get silenced in clarity. I know I want to do this. And then I begin to build a belief system. I can do this because it's in my heart to do. I know God is faithful. And then, maybe we take 6 months declaring life over ourselves. But starting with number 1. Number 1 is get clarity and get a new belief system with that clarity. Okay, so let me move on. I have so many things that I want to say about this. I need like 8 weeks, but I get so excited. I really get so excited about this because it is so much in my heart for people to live in success, and not just to live in success, but to live out of the lies that the limiting lies that the enemy has given us, that we can't and that we're not enough. Like if there's one lie that the enemy wants us to hold on to, is that we're not enough. And that is his story. It is not your story. You are more than enough. I love the fact that you are so much more than a conqueror because the King of Kings lives inside of you. The idea is, what can you not accomplish? What can you not move and do in your life? So anyways, okay, but here's the next step. Well, with this one is challenge your thoughts. So Jan, this is what one thing I'd really love to talk to you about, because I know a lot about just your life over the past several years. And they have 5 amazing kids. He's got a beautiful wife, and he's in school. He's got 2 jobs. I think at one point you had 3 jobs. And in the middle of all this, you're pursuing something that doesn't make sense in the season. Like in the season, some people would say, there's no way, that's not possible. How do you do this? And yet you not only do it, how do you continue to do it when it got tough? How do you continue? Because I think that's something that all of us would like. How do I keep moving forward when it gets tough? And you said something so profound. So let me just remind you what you said, and then you can say whatever else you want to say. But you said, where's that word? You said creating an urgency inside you. So that is very different than an urgency outside you, like a bully telling you have to do this. Talk to us a little bit about when it gets tough, how do you keep your priorities, and how do you even know what your priorities are?
Okay, yeah. First, what I found in my life interesting, and I had few people talking about it too, that sometimes it's easier to do something if your life is really like if you have a lot of stuff to do, if you have things happening, and if you think that it couldn't be crazier, that's usually when I found in my life it's easier to like do something extra. And then if you really have nothing to do, it's like hard to get the momentum. The example is, I know that when I did BSSM, I had one guy who did BSSM with me, and he had a work. He was working, and he had a family, and he did BSSM, the school, and we read the books, and we had the homeworks, and he never had one absence, and he turned in everything in time, and he worked remotely 8 hours in the same time and had a family. Comparing to that, there were students who were internationals, so they couldn't work. They didn't have a family, but they had a problem to turn in homeworks in time. They didn't have time for reading books. And next to it, there are people with like families, with work, and they are actually don't have problems to like do the turn in stuff in the due date and stuff like that. So what I found, actually, the more crazy it is, sometimes it's actually easier to start something, because if you know that these 30 minutes are the only free time that you have in a whole day, you know, this is the time I need to do that because there is no other time. So you know, this is the time, and you go and do it. And comparing to if you don't have the momentum, you have all the time in the world, it's actually, I would say, much harder to start moving. So if you are in that whatever where you are right now, it's important, if your calendar is totally empty or you only have the 30 minutes, put it to the calendar and say, this is the time allocated for this and nothing else. And maybe the first day it will not work because whatever, but put it there for the next day and the next day and the next day. And even like Steve is saying, he's writing book with 3 minutes every day, because you have 3 minutes. Everyone has 3 minutes. You can find 3 minutes. So do it, whatever you want to do, whatever Lord called you to do. Find those 3 minutes, put it in your calendar, and start with that.
That is so good. I love that, because I feel like it is so genius. And yet for me, it's like, I'm one of those all or nothing kind of people. And I think some people are like, structure is not my strong suit. It's just so funny to me. And yet when I finally take the pressure off, and I think here's something else I think is important, is maybe you have something that you've been wanting to move forward in a long time. The longer we wait to get started on the thing you know you want to get started on, the more momentum kind of stacks against you, and it gets harder and harder. So now it's not just, well, I wanted to start this thing. Now I'm 18 years behind, and so I have to catch up today. Now it's not like I need to start making healthier choices. I need to lose 40 pounds by Friday. And so we put the impossibility in front of us, rather than, if I just move forward a little bit today, if I write for 3 minutes today, what will have happened? I will have accomplished something magnificent, which is I will have done the thing that will move me forward. John Maxwell taught this. He taught this thing on the Power of 5 that I loved, and I've taught it again and again. And it was like, you have this tree in your backyard, and it needs to come down. And you know it's going to take a long, long time to get that down. But, you know, I don't have 30 hours to go cut that down. He says, what will happen if you get your blade nice and sharp, and you just got, I literally have time to take 5 whacks at that tree. And what will happen is, like, I look at that tree and I don't have time. So I put it off this month and the next month. And 10 years later, that stinking tree is still standing there, obstructing our view, making a mess everywhere. But if I would take 5 whacks at that tree today, 5 whacks at that tree tomorrow, 5 whacks at the tree, what is eventually going to happen? I mean, it's like obvious. Eventually that tree is going to come down. Impossible for it not to. Why? Because every single whack is a vote you're coming down. And it's actually, it is set in stone, the fate of that tree. That thing is coming down. If you write 3 minutes a day, what is eventually going to happen? You will complete that book. If you make that, if you go for a walk every single day, or you make healthier choices, what's happening is every time you move with intention, you're casting a vote for that yes and amen on your future. But what one of the pitfalls, and this is a key, one of the pitfalls that will wind up is we look at what's not done yet, which is disempowering, demotivating. It gives place for shame. But if we just decide, rather than how do I lose 50 pounds, instead, what can I do today and tomorrow and the next day that will move the needle forward? And I love that. You talked about putting structure and due dates. Why do we need structure? Like somebody who doesn't love structure, why do, and of course my life, there's the places that I have added structure. It's amazing how much you can get done when you put structure on something. But why do we need structure, and why do we need due dates?
Yeah, it depends. You need to find out, and probably a few things, like if you did school and everyone did like high school or something, what is like, or in work, if you have for something like 2 weeks, when is the time you start doing it? And I actually just hear recently that the worst thing what you can do if someone has HDND, and they are in the last right before deadline, the worst thing what you can do, give them more time. So if you are due date driven person, so you find out, okay, in like the last 12 hours, because before the task is due, that's my like where I kick in and I start to be alive, and this is my time. And if this is you, so you need to set up due dates. I know that there are people that are like, if they have like some due date, they are paralyzed by that. So maybe you need to come with different structure. Maybe it's like coaching or beliefs trainer, or someone who you can be accountable, and he will be cheering with you every time you do a little step, so you can do a little step and a little step. Maybe that's something like that for you. I don't know if you have another examples, what are things that motivates people, but
I think that's super key, because what motivates one person may not motivate the next person. But you said something key. Find out what motivates you and build a structure around it. And why a structure? Because, a structure it's a container and it's measurable. How do I know that I'm moving forward? And and you mentioned this, find somebody to help keep you accountable.
That's good. You find some group that, or even a group people that they have the same goal, right? You can join the group that they are writing a book. And if you see what we did with Igniting Hope, we have a Walkers Club, and I saw Gisa share that is 11,000 steps per day. I think so. That's what the Igniting Hope stuff is doing. Now we have a group, and like where you can see how people are, how many steps they are doing every day. And if you are like a really person that motivates the like winning, and so that can be something like find a group of people who has the similar goals. And even if you will see your friends, like I wrote another page, then it will be like motivating for you to start doing something. If it's sometimes, again, if it's like a little bit more competitive, it can discourage you. But find something that is working for you, and you can explore more things. But important is like really celebrate the progress. I think that's really not looking for the perfection, but really celebrate in you even the little step. Like we said, do a little step, and don't forget to celebrate. And you are building a house brick by brick.
I love that. Okay, I think we're going to have to do a part 2, because I have so many other things that I want to say. But we'll wrap up with this. And this is so good. And so I do want to just touch on the accountability. It's time to come out of hiding. It's time to come out of hiding. The greatness and the things that are in you belong to the world. I'm sorry, but they belong to the world. Your victorious life is so much bigger than you, and the gifts that God has put inside you. Man, when we move forward and say yes to the things that God wants us, it means the betterment of humanity. Do you realize that the earth is a better place because you're here? How much more when we say yes to what God wants to do in us. And, not everybody's going to go out and, launch some big thing. Sometimes it's just having a really healthy relationship with your kids, loving your spouse well, loving your body, taking care of your plants, whatever it is. But what is important to you, think about the anointing and the gift and the grace of God on that. And so I would love, I love giving homework. So I would give some homework this next week. Own what you want to grow in. Own what you want to do, and find somebody. Don't find somebody who doesn't believe in you. Like, we all have people that don't want to see us succeed. That's okay. I'm not talking about those people, but find people and tell them, I want to do this, and help me be accountable. And accountability, we actually call these momentum groups in our school. Help bring other people around that's going to help you with momentum. And then I want to end with this thought. I was driving by a cemetery. This was years and years ago. And there was a cemetery by our church when we were pastoring. And I just drove by, and the Lord spoke to my heart and said, the saddest thing is not the people that left. And I just it struck me, when you get a thought from the Lord, it struck me because I'm looking at all those gravestones. And the saddest thing, he says, isn't the people that left, it's the gifts and the dreams that they took with them.
Ooh.
And I remember it just undid me. And as I'm sitting there, I pulled over and I'm just looking, and I'm realizing there's books that were buried there. There's inventions that were buried there. Somebody's marriage would have been restored had that, and it's not this place for guilt and shame and condemnation, because God is so much bigger and he'll go after. But the gifts, we are not taking our gifts with us. No gift is leaving the planet with you. You are actually going to release it because, one, you're going after your beliefs. You're actually going to begin to challenge the beliefs that I'm thinking, the thoughts that I'm thinking. Are they serving the me that I'm becoming? And if the answer is no, time to get rid of it and ask the Lord, what is true about me? Can I do this? And his answer is always going to be a resounding yes. So start there. And then maybe next week we'll talk a little bit more about strategies that we can put in place to help. But this has been so good. Jan, you are so very inspirational to so many, especially to me. I'm looking all choked up, especially, I'm okay, especially to me and my family. And just love your pursuit and going after what you know is important and allowing the Lord to empower you and grace you and sticking it through. So me, and I know all of you that are on there, we just want to say congratulations to the ending of this season and the start of the next season. And I release the same to you. Congratulations on the ending of a season and the beginning of a new season and a new empowerment to go after and become the person that all of heaven is celebrating you to be. So you want to pray over everybody and we will wrap up today.
Yes, and thank you everyone. Paul, it's great to see you here. Stephen from Spain.
Ooh, hi,
Gisa, I think from Switzerland, if I'm correct.
Gisa.
Arla, all of you, it's great. Amanda, see you here. Ariel, great to see you.
We love
and
Ariel.
Jenny, our Jenny is here. Yeah, we love to release hope. That's why Igniting Hope is here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much for jumping in. If you are listening this from recording, we are praying over you, over your dreams and visions that Jesus gave on your heart. We are saying it's time to start doing it. And Lord, thank you that not only you're giving the dreams, but if you give someone dream and vision to do something, you also give them strength and you also give them all the resources that we need to accomplish them. Because you wouldn't give us a dream or a vision if we couldn't accomplish it. So it's a full package. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for all those people who are listening right now, that now is the time for their dreams and visions come through. In the name of Jesus.
Wow, that's a good word. Now is the time for your dreams and visions to come through. Wow. Thank you all. Bless you. We love you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Make sure to be the biggest, most profound prophetic voice of encouragement, and especially go after encouraging yourself because you matter. Love you all.